A cabinet meeting back in July this year approved the creation of the Ministry of National Unity and Civic Engagement, and on the 31st of August, the decision that Dr. Jean Damascene Bizimana should head it was made public. The new ministry is meant to reinforce the efforts made over the years by other institutions like the National Commission for the Fight Against Genocide, the National Unity and Reconciliation Commission, the National NTORE Commission, and others.
ubushakashatsi tumaze iminsi dukora bugaragaza ko hakiri ibikomere binyuranye mu banyarwanda.
The research we have been carrying out indicates that there are still wounds among the population, which means that this ministry must continue working to heal those wounds. Then there are the broader efforts to fight genocidal ideologies. The tactics used by those who deny and negate the genocide that was perpetrated against the Tutsi must be established and countered, and research carried out so that the facts of what happened are properly preserved, that we may continue building up our society while at the same time countering anything that may seek to take us backwards.
Dukomeze kubaka societe yacu ariko tunahangana n'icyari cyo cyose cyadusubiza inyuma.
The 2020 Rwanda Reconciliation Barometer released by the National Unity and Reconciliation Commission showed that 27% of people in the country identify the wounds left behind by the policies of divisionism and segregation that ultimately led to the genocide against the Tutsi as remaining the primary hindrances to unity and reconciliation. Rwandan parliamentarians, part of the Standing Committee on Unity, Human Rights and the Fight Against Genocide, therefore believe Rwandan youth, including those in the diaspora, must be involved in efforts to address this.
buriya iyo ushaka kubaka amahoro arambye n'iterambere rirambye ntabwo wasiga inyuma urubyiruko.
When you want to build a long-term peace and development, you cannot ignore the youth. Though I expect this new ministry will look at all age groups in its drive to promote unity, it cannot afford to leave out young people especially. I say this because young people make up a large portion of the population, but they did not experience the terrible past this country had to endure. Transforming them would be building up a peaceful society. Much has already been done, but more needs to be done in the diaspora, because many remain abroad, not because they want to, but do so because all they hear are the genocidal ideologies propagated by their parents and do not have accurate information about Rwanda.
The man that is to head the new ministry understands the challenges that lie before him. The problem of genocidal ideologies is still evident, and you can see it in the figures of the judicial sector. The fact that between 100 and 200 people each year are investigated because of such crimes shows us that even though we have been making progress, there are still those held captive by that bad history. Sometimes you find young people included, and obviously they get such ideologies from their families. That will therefore require coordinating with the Ministry of Gender and Family Promotion to ensure that the sort of upbringing children get is truly based on Rwandan cultural values, and that all Rwandans understand that they need to love their country because it belongs to all of them, not just a few individuals. The new ministry comes as the reconciliation barometer has been steadily rising over the last decade or so, at 82% in 2010, then 92.5% 5 years later, and 94.7% last year.
Still on this, the creation of the Ministry of National Unity and Civic Engagement comes at a time when Rwandans are looking to take their national unity efforts to the next level. And so earlier today, we spoke to Dr. Eric Ndushabandi, who is the director of the Institute of Research and Dialogue for Peace, to ask him a few questions about his take on the creation of the new ministry.
So, Dr. Ndushabandi, let me begin by asking you about the significance of this newly created Ministry of National Unity and Civic Engagement. What sort of impact do you see the ministry having on Rwanda's efforts to maintain national unity?
Thank you very much. This is the 27 years after genocide. Unity and reconciliation, there is a component of looking at the history and the memory of the past. So this is a very high time to reflect on the past and bringing Rwandans to engage in a healing process, a healing which requires to have an ideal an ideal of unity and reconciliation. But this is high time now to see if all this can be highly institutionalized, to bring it at the ministerial level and not just commissions. I think it is very significant because it will have more space, more capacities, and set some spaces of what we call work of memory or travail de mémoire. And this means to engage on issues and the problems of the past, which brings Rwandans or brought Rwandans to engage in genocide. But what is important is to fix the idea of unity and reconciliation and bring Rwandans to this idea. So I'm expecting from this ministry, for example, to open up more spaces for young people, for the youth, but also for the other generation, engaging in intergenerational dialogue, communication around what are the main issues, what are the different interpretations of the genocide and the causes, but really to build on the right narrative, and the people to be educated about what are the causes of the genocide, what have been the consequences, and to have a narrative which is very informed by or based on the idea of unity and reconciliation, and not just expressing any feelings which are very individual and destructive, as we have been seeing this last time on social media and so on. So responsible citizen is created through a very formal civic education program.
Yes, in your assessment, would you say Rwandans now more than ever understand the importance of maintaining peace and unity?
Exactly. This is a phase of consolidating, by the way, and the consolidation of what have been acquired through all this education, political education, Ingando and Itorero, which is related to culture and values guiding the Rwandans. It is a very high time now to see if now people can get out and engage in the society to deal with the problems in the society, not just to wait for political leaders to go and invite them, but engaging from individual and very civic level. So, which requires another stage where the reconstruction of Rwanda is based on convincing and personal convictions that it is a matter of a citizen from a young age to the elders through intergenerational dialogue, where all this generation will be continuously exchanging from non-formal structures, but in education.
And finally, what sort of message do you feel the creation of this ministry sends when it comes to the commitment of Rwandans to safeguarding their unity?
The first message is to capitalize what has been acquired already from these 27 years. What are the benefits from Ingando and Itorero? How can we consolidate it and to bring people to own it and to make it sustainable? And the sustainability is expected from this civic education program, political education, where now people will say, this is now embedded in our families. So this requires the government to work hand in hand with the civil sector organization.
Dr. Eric Ndushabandi, Director of the Institute of Research and Dialogue for Peace, thank you for taking the time to speak to Rwanda Television.
You are welcome. Thank you for the invitation.